Hi, today I would like to tell you the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, all good stories start that way, don't they? Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Jack, and he lived with his mother in a cottage at the edge of the village. It was just the two of them, and they didn't have a lot. And one day, Jack's mother said, "Jack, we have nothing in the house to eat. I hate to do it, but why don't you take old Bessie," that's their cow, "take old Bessie into the village and see if you can sell her. Maybe another family would like to have her live with them. And then we can take that money and buy some seeds and plant a garden." And Jack said, "Okay." He liked Betsy, but he knew he had to do what he had to do, and he could visit her when he went into the village anyway. So he set off with Bessie behind him to go down the path and into the little village. Well, he hadn't gone very long when this old person stepped out of the woods onto the path and said, "Hi, Jack." Jack didn't know who this person was, but Jack said, "Hi." Now, before we go any farther, what in the world do we know about talking to strangers? Right, you have to be very careful, right? But Jack wasn't. And the stranger said, "What are you doing on this fine day? Out for a walk?" And Jack said, "Well, as it happens, I'm going into the village to see if I can't sell old Bessie here, our milk cow. We really need the money." And the old man said, "What a coincidence. I am looking to buy a cow."
Yay!
Jack said, "Really? Would you like to buy old Bessie here and treat her very kindly?" "Sure," said the old man. And he said, "I don't have any money, though. I have something that's even better." "What?" said Jack. "We're looking for money." "I have magic beans," said the old man. And Jack thought, magic beans. "What?" "Oh, yes, these are magic beans," said the stranger, "and they are very valuable, much better than money." Now, I don't think anybody could convince me to buy magic beans. But Jack was, let's say he was a little bit gullible. Gullible. That means people can fool you. You will believe anything. And Jack did. He said, "Well, here's the cow. I will take those magic beans. I don't even have to go into the village at all." And he took those magic beans and he ran home to the cottage, burst into the door and said, "Mom, Mom, 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 look." And he showed her the magic beans. And his mom said, "Oh, well, that's nice, dear. How much money did you get for Bessie?" "I didn't get any money," said Jack. "I got something even better. I got magic beans." Oh. Jack's mother burst into tears. Now, children hate to see their mothers cry, don't they? And that's what she was doing. "Oh, Jack," she said. "Oh, we really needed that money. How are we going to plant a garden? You've got what, 5 or 6 seeds there? That's not going to make us a garden. And we don't have anything to eat tonight. And oh, Jack, how could you be so gullible?" Well, Jack was really upset. He ran upstairs and he threw himself on his bed and he cried and he cried and he cried. Eventually, he was so mad about having been gullible and buying those magic beans that he jumped up, he threw them out of the window, and he threw himself back on the bed and he went to sleep for the night. Now, the next morning, when he woke up, there wasn't much sunshine coming in his window. And he looked and there was this grapevine or something growing up. He ran outside and he saw a beanstalk. Well, the beans had grown, but not into green beans like we would expect. No, it grew into a big, 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 big beanstalk. And you know what Jack did? He started to climb up it. Would you do that? I might. I would tell my mother where I was going, though, first, and make sure it was okay. Jack climbed up, up, up. Took a long time, but finally he got to the top of the beanstalk, and there was a whole new land up there. So he jumped off the beanstalk. He starts walking around to see what he could see, and he bumped into a giant with one big old eye right in the middle of her forehead. And they were both startled to run into each other, and the giant said, "Who are you? We don't get a lot of visitors up here." "I'm Jack," he said. "I just climbed up that beanstalk over there." And the giant said, "Well, are you hungry? I just made some cookies." And Jack said, "I could eat." And so the giant scooped Jack up and put him in her pocket and took him back to the castle. Now, stop right there, for goodness sakes. What is wrong with that story? Would we go into somebody's house without asking our grown-ups? No, we would not. But Jack did. So they get in there. And the giant set him down on the table and gave him a cookie. Now, the giant has to have giant cookies, right? So this cookie was bigger than Jack, which sounds fabulous, actually, to have a cookie that big. Anyway, he's running around and around and around this cookie, nibbling at the edges, when he hears, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." "Quick," said the first giant. "Hide." She scooped him up and she put him down by the stove behind a box of sticks. And a second giant came into the room. Now, this giant had 3 eyes. 1, 2, 3. And the 3-eyed giant said, I smell boy. Are we having boy for dinner?" "Don't be silly," said the first giant. "We haven't had boy in forever. Sit down, we're having tea and cookies." So the 3-eyed giant sat down and ate tea and cookies. And by the way, this giant had terrible table manners, just cramming cookies in and slurping tea and spilling everything everywhere. Finally, he finished, and he went over and he took a hen out of a cage and put the hen on the table and said, "Lay." And the hen laid an egg, a golden egg. And the 3-eyed giant scooped it up, put it in a basket with some other golden eggs, and put the hen back down on the floor, and then went and got this harp. A harp, a musical instrument, but it had a face and everything. It was really this girl that had been turned into a harp by a magic spell, an evil magic spell. The 3-eyed giant looked at the harp and said, "Play." Well, the harp played some sad music, and the 3-eyed giant started to feel kind of sleepy, went over and lay down on a giant bed, and soon was snoring. The 1-eyed monster said, "Jack, you'd better go." And Jack said, Okay, but can I take that hen? It's too little to live with a giant anyway. And the harp looks sad." "Yes, they've been here long enough," said the first giant. And Jack took one in each arm, harp and hen, and went back to the beanstalk and started climbing down, which was probably kind of hard because he had something under each arm. I don't know how he did that. But he got to the bottom, and he set the hen down, and he set the harp down, and The harp magically changed back into this girl, and she said, "Oh, thank you so much for rescuing me. I will do you a favor someday." And she ran off to see her family, who had missed her while she was gone. And the hen, who, by the way, was a magic hen and could talk, the hen turned around and said, "Jack, thank you so much for rescuing me. That was horrible up there. I got a present for you," and laid a golden egg. And then another, and then another. And the hen said, "Sell those eggs and you'll be rich. I'll see you again sometime." And off the hen went to see the hen's family. Well, Jack grabbed up these 3 golden eggs and went running back home to show them to his mother. Okay, long story short, they sold the eggs and they lived happily ever after, always had enough to eat. They probably went and bought Bessie back, too, because they loved her. The end. I thought it would be fun to try to grow my own beanstalk. I needed to use water, dried beans, paper towel, and a baggie. I wet the paper towel, put it in the baggie, threw in some beans, and set it aside. My cat wondered why I left wet beans on the dryer, but I let them sit there for a few days. Look what happened. After a few days, they sprouted. I didn't try to grow them any further because I wasn't in the mood to climb a giant beanstalk. Who's ready to dance? See if you can move like my animal friends move.